Hey, grab a cup of coffee, cup of tea, your beverage of choice, and let's talk about pivoting your author career. So maybe you haven't begun your author career yet, or maybe you have. In both cases, there are definitely some decisions to be made periodically about what do you really want out of this career? Do you want it to be full time or part time? Do you want to write quickly or is your process slower? What is the order that you are going to do things? So I've been thinking a lot about my author career. I mean, consistently over the past several years since I can count that it started. My first book, under my own name at least, was came out on July 15th, 2019. So we're coming up on the 4-year publishing anniversary. And I have a lot of eggs in a lot of baskets, and I have just been thinking lately about how I want to reevaluate what is important to me in an author career and how I can move forward with those goals in mind. So I have a nifty planner here that I tend to use for both my work and personal stuff. Well, a lot of work though. It's the Legend planner. It's pretty cool. The only downside is that the stickers that it comes with are not all that great, and you do need to fill it out yourself. Because I like that though, because for me, I do consider, and reflect at New Year's, the new calendar year, but I really kind of reset and make changes every school year. So I get out of school like the last day or two of May, and then I do like a deep dive kind of into myself and what I want the next year to look like starting in June. And there are hardly any planners that kind of follow that and also have some of the features that I want. Anyway, that's just a I don't know if that explanation was even necessary, but that's part of why we're just calling this a chat instead of a super focused video like a lot of my other ones are. Anyway, all that to say, I've been thinking about all the things that I'm doing, all the genres that I write, all, the 2 YouTube channels that I keep. I do have that other one, right? The English Nerd. If you're new to this channel, I had and still do have a longer running, more popular channel called English Nerd, but it just became clear to me that that one should be more focused on academic stuff and this one should be more focused on fiction writing, publishing, and indie author life. So anyway, I have 2 of those. I have different social media accounts and blah blah blah. It just kind of keeps going. So I decided, okay, I need to reevaluate where I'm going to spend all my time. I have about 1 million book ideas that I'm chasing all at once, and I'm running around like a crazy rabbit running from something, and this is just not good for anyone or for really getting anywhere with my my authorly goals. So I started making all these notes. I wrote down, first of all, what is my definition of success? And I think I've talked about this already on the channel, but for me, the definition of success, the very top priority is just enjoying my life. If there's something that substantially cramps that ability, then that's going to be the first thing to go. So I know that means I won't necessarily make as much money because I'm not necessarily working myself to death or whatever, because I do want to enjoy my life, and I'm perfectly okay with that. So that's number 1. 2 and 3 have kind of recently flipped for me. 2 was, and I mean, they're like, anyway, 2 was making super fans, people who really, really connect with my stuff and, love everything that I write and create fan art and stuff like that. I am still all about that. I mean, talk about a way to just quickly and strongly make my day is by leaving a positive review or posting about my books. I just am over the moon, and I always catch it because I'm always looking for it. It's just such a rush of happiness for me to see that. But I have lately become more interested in, okay, what's actually lucrative for me. Number 3 on the what does success mean to me was money. I'm not the most monetarily focused person, but I do want to have the freedom to not be stressed about bills. And, even if I have to kind of tighten up in some areas, I do want to be able to go on vacations and not feel guilty and that kind of thing. So I was thinking, all right, I should be more focused on what is going to actually make money. Have a good strategy for that. So after I defined success for me, and so now money is edging out the making super fans, at least for the moment. I think that's gonna even out once I'm making something that I'm happier with than I am right now. So after I did that, I made a list of my most financially successful books. The most financially successful is Laertes, the Hamlet retelling. It has, in terms of like how much money I put into it and how versus how much I've gotten out percentage wise, it's definitely the most popular. It has the most interest on Goodreads and stuff like that. So if you like dark academia books, I mean, it is. I'm super proud of it. I think it's quite good. Whether you know and like Hamlet or know nothing about it, or even dislike Hamlet but really love dark academia, check it out. But anyway, so that was the top. I looked at the different pen names that I have and what books have, at least paid themselves out. The amount that I put in, I've gotten that amount. People have bought enough that I've gotten that amount out. So I made a list of that. And then what is my monetary goal? What would I like to see? And, I wrote that down. And so what financially makes the most sense? Like what has the highest potential rate of return, and stuff like that. So it was a lot of little lists, and I love a little list. It helps me wrap my mind around things and just clarify what I was thinking, because honestly, okay, so I write under more than my own name, right? But even just under my own name, I had so many ideas for different Tanyuan Academy adjacent stories that I wanted to write, and I have all these different genres I would like to try, and often it's not a great idea to go wildly genre hopping. That's why I write under different names. It was a risk to even write Laertes under my own, because it's not young adult fantasy, which I had written exclusively up to that point. But I thought, well, it has a lot of the same. It's not the same genre, and it is written for a slightly older audience. It's not YA, but you do get dark, twisty, yet ultimately life-affirming stories. You do get found family. You do get immersive settings. You do get some consistent things throughout, whatever you read by me. So I figured I would take the risk, and so far that has not been any sort of problem. But I needed to focus, and that is not what I'm doing right now, apparently. So cheers. I'm having some tea. I'm never having coffee during these coffee talks, because I always have coffee first thing in the morning, and I'm listening to true crime and I'm playing games on my phone, and I'm really not fit to be seen by a wider audience. And so by now, I've had my caffeine for the day, so I'm just having some ginger tea instead. So just, pardon me. You can be enjoying your coffee. So I made all these lists and I narrowed down, okay, these are the things that are the most popular, these are the things that are making the most. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to not feel guilty for uh, moving away from these projects and instead going in this direction for a while, and seeing how that goes. So it's looking like dun, 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 there is going to be another dark academia-esque retelling in the relatively near future. Obviously, with those kinds of things, there is more research to be done than, say, for like my Anne Harrison books. Those are my Hallmark contemporary romance shorts. There's almost no research to be had for those. There's always a little bit of research somewhere for something. Writers will know this, but so it's gonna take a while for that to really come together and coalesce. But yeah, so in terms of the young adult fantasy, I am 100% going to return to that, but I am not going to return to it immediately. Not like I was planning on, because those books have not made as much money historically. And I just wasn't feeling super motivated to work on those projects, even though they're delightful. Like I can't wait until they are books. I just wasn't in the right mindset to do them justice, I guess. And so I am, like I said, giving myself permission to go in a different direction. So, hopefully, if you're listening to this, you're hearing that it's okay sometimes to reevaluate your priorities, to go in a different direction. Do really consider what counts as success for you and make a plan to go in that direction. It's more than just writing this book instead of this book. It's going to take, for me, more launch steps and revamping, my newsletter and some other stuff I'm not as excited about. But at least now I've gone from having a million different ideas and a million different projects that I'm working on to really narrowing that down and saying, this year at least, we'll say for the next 6 months, I'm going to focus on just these things. And then after those 6 months to a year, I'll reevaluate and I'll choose, the project that makes sense for me in that stage. So if you are a fan of mine, I do still have books coming out. I am really working hard behind the scenes here, even though it doesn't look like I have all that much coming out. It's you just have to trust me. There are lots of things in the works, and I hope it will all be worth the wait for you, and that the choices that I've made will be more financially sound for me. Thinking like a business person is really pretty difficult for me. I enjoy learning, I enjoy creating, and none of my hobbies or education have really geared themselves toward business. So I'm doing what I can. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this video and this sort of vague look into my life. I'm not going to make official announcements yet about release dates or even the project that I'm working on. I want the official announcement to go through my newsletter instead of through YouTube, and then of course I'll talk all about it on this channel, the process of writing that next book. But yeah, just know that there is some really good stuff upcoming, especially if you liked Laertes. But if you are more of a young adult fantasy fan, it's just going to be a little bit longer, but I will definitely be getting back to that as well. So, good luck in figuring out your own path. It can be kind of a stressful thing to, not follow what everybody says, but that's another thing. Everybody says different things. There are some common pieces of wisdom, but not everything works the same for everybody. Make sure that however you go into being an author, that it's something that works for you, how your brain works, something that you can maintain, something that you enjoy. And if that means reevaluating every now and then just allow yourself to reevaluate sometimes rather than burning out or something like that, because that's much worse. People go into this business not for a quick buck usually. It's because we love it despite the stress that it can sometimes bring on with imposter syndrome and stuff. We love the characters, we love the writing, we love the stories, and we want to share those. So hang on to that, and if it helps you, make your own little lists of what you want to see for your writing future. If you feel so inclined to share your own experience with pivoting your author career or kind of deciding what you want to do in the first place, then share it down below. I would like to hear from you, see what you're thinking. What genres do you like to write? How many books a year are you thinking of doing? Yeah, that would be cool to hear. Anyway, until next coffee talk, until next Wednesday. I guess I'll see you later.